You ever been there? Standing in a parking lot, clicking your car's key fob over and over, and just nothing? It is so frustrating. Well, we're going to dive into a great case study that cracks this exact mystery open. It turns a simple car key problem into a really cool lesson about the invisible world of radio waves that's all around us.
Okay, just so you know, what we're covering today comes from part 16 of a 20-part tutorial. It's called Radio Frequency Interference Beyond Wi-Fi, a consumer guide to common disruptions and frequencies, and is put together by RFI detectives. This stuff is really aimed at folks who are pretty tech-savvy, and for this explainer, we're just zeroing in on the case study from this chapter.
All right, so let's set the scene. First up, the frustrating failure. We're jumping right into a driver's dilemma that I bet some of you have experienced. A key fob that just seems to have a mind of its own and quits on you at the absolute worst times.
Seriously, has this ever happened to you? You're locked out by your own car. You're standing there pointing your key, clicking away, and zip, nada. It's maddening, right? Well, that is exactly where our story kicks off.
So, here's the deal. The driver in this case noticed their key fob worked perfectly at home, no issues at all. But the second they were in certain commercial parking lots or big city garages, boom. It was either super delayed or just completely unresponsive. And that right there, the fact that it's location-specific, that's our first big clue. So how in the world do you solve a problem you literally can't see? Well, this is where you have to start following the digital breadcrumbs. You basically become an RFI detective. And that's exactly what the owner in this case did. They started piecing together what was really going on here. And this is just a perfect example of the diagnostic process. Okay, so step 1, you note the symptoms. You've got a delayed response or a total failure. Step 2, you look for a pattern. And yep, the problem is totally location-specific. It only happens in these busy lots. And that leads to step 3, a really solid hypothesis. Hey, maybe it's not the key fob itself. Maybe it's some kind of external interference. And this brings us to the most crucial piece of the puzzle, the frequency. See, in North America, most car key fobs operate right here, at 315 megahertz. This is the specific radio channel where our whole mystery is taking place. Okay, so I want you to think of that 315 megahertz frequency like a conversation happening in a room. For your key fob to work, your car has to be able to hear its little whisper. But what happens when that room gets really, really loud?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If our little key fob is trying to whisper on 315 megahertz, what else is out there shouting on that exact same frequency? Especially when you're in a parking lot jam-packed with other cars.
And here we have it. The answer is tire pressure monitoring systems. You know, TPMS. Those little sensors inside your tires, they're constantly broadcasting your tire pressure data to your car's dashboard. And you want to guess what frequency they use in North America? You got it, 315 megahertz. So get this. The culprit isn't one big, powerful signal messing things up. No. It's the combined chatter from dozens, maybe even hundreds of cars, all packed into a parking garage. All their little TPMS sensors are talking at the same time, creating this constant wall of radio frequency noise that just completely drowns out the key fob's tiny little signal. Okay, so we've unmasked our invisible culprit. We know what's causing the problem. The next question is, what can you actually do about it? And that brings us right to our next section, looking at some real-world tactics and tricks for fighting back. So the owner in our story, they tried a few things. First, they tried some strategic parking, finding spots away from the big clusters of cars. And that helped a bit. They also got one of those shielded pouches to block signals when they weren't using the key fob. They even called the manufacturer, who pretty much confirmed, yeah, this is a known limitation of older tech in noisy places. But there was one more trick they tried, a surprising one.
And this is where things get really interesting and a little weird. It's a phenomenon that's sometimes called the head antenna effect. Now, I know it sounds totally bizarre, but there's some actual physics going on here.
So believe it or not, by holding the key fob right up against your head, you can sometimes use your body to act like an antenna. It can actually extend the signal's range just enough to cut through some of that background noise. It's definitely not a guaranteed fix, but hey, in a pinch, it can totally work. And all of this kind of brings us to our final big idea here, an imperfect solution. It's really about the reality that in our super wireless world, sometimes the answer isn't about finding that one perfect fix, it's about learning to live with the noise.
The expectation going in was, I'm going to find a single source of interference and just eliminate it. But the reality was, the source is, well, it's everywhere. The problem isn't one thing, it's dozens of things. So the expectation of a technical fix that makes it 100% reliable again, that had to change. The real solution was all about adaptation and clever workarounds.
So, what are the key takeaways from all this? What should you remember? First, RF interference is very often location dependent. If something works at home but not downtown, that's a huge clue. Second, some of this interference is just unavoidable now because the airwaves are just so crowded. And that means technology has its limits in these noisy environments, which leads to the most important tip of all. Always, always carry your mechanical key as a backup.
And this really leaves us with a final, pretty big question to think about. As our world gets more and more wireless, what conveniences are we going to have to trade for good old-fashioned reliability? It's something to consider, right?